Hello there. Now, why would the Taliban feel betrayed? As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. So who was it that betrayed the Taliban? Well, it turns out it was the Americans. And why? Because all that military kit left in Kabul airport has been disabled. Seems the US has learnt one vital lesson when retreating. Don't leave vast amounts of working military hardware behind for the enemy to use. And a disgruntled Taliban is moaning that what was left behind is only fit for the scrapyard. Well, what did they expect? Unless someone had promised them something else, of course. Or they just assumed that it would be a repeat of Bagram. But here's what the head of the US Central Command, General Frank McKenzie, said about that part of the final airport evacuation, starting with the missile system they had to keep up and running until the last seconds in order to fend off any further rocket attacks. It's a complex procedure. It's a complex and time-intensive procedure to break down those systems. So we demilitarise those systems so that they'll never be used again. We felt it was more important to protect our forces than to bring those systems back. We have also demilitarised equipment that we did not bring out of the airport. That included a number of mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, up to 70 MRAPs that we demilitarised that will never be used again by anyone. 27 Humvees, that little tactical vehicle that will never be driven again. And additionally, on the ramp at Hamid Karzai International Airport are a total of 73 aircraft. Those aircraft will never fly again when we left. They'll never be able to be operated by anyone. Most of them were non-mission capable to begin with, but certainly they'll never be able to be flown again. Seems to be in stark contrast to what they did on exiting from Bagram and other bases, though. Anyway, the Mail is reporting that the Taliban are angry and feel betrayed by this. They claim that the kit belongs to Afghanistan, so should have been left behind in working condition for them to take over. Presumably so they can go and drop bombs on and shoot at other people. Maybe like the anti-Taliban resistance that is still holding out in the Panjshir Valley. Maybe the Taliban thought that because they'd given the US troops an easy ride during their retreat, and even maybe assisted them, that the US would reciprocate by leaving them some nice tasty weapons to use. Well, they didn't where Kabul was concerned. But overall, according to the US Government Accounting Office, the GAO, and the Special Investigator General for Afghan Reconstruction, or SIGAR, they left behind in their garrisons like Lashkargah and Kandahar 109 helicopters including 33 Black Hawks, 65 fixed-wing aircraft including 4 C-130 transports and 23 Super Tucano anti-insurgency fighters. Then there's the 8,000 trucks, the over 22,000 Humvees, and 634 M1117 armoured security vehicles, 155 mine-proof vehicles, 169 armoured personnel carriers, and 42,000 pickup trucks and SUVs. And now let's get on to the weaponry. Over 64,000 heavy machine guns, nearly 360,000 assault rifles, over 126,000 pistols, and 176 pieces of artillery. I would also assume that a lot of ammo came with all of that. Then there's the over 162,000 radios, and I would hazard they came with encryption capabilities, and over 16,000 sets of night vision goggles. That probably makes the Taliban one of the better equipped armies in the world. Now, a lot of people would ask, why didn't the supposedly 300,000 strong Afghan army use all this equipment to defeat the Taliban? Well, there was so much corruption going on that half of that number may have been fictitious, just so the top brass and politicians could get their mitts on the moolah. And many of the real soldiers weren't being paid or fed properly anyway. Couple that in with Western commentators and politicians saying basically that the Taliban will take the whole country in a few months after NATO had pulled out, in effect saying that defeat for the Afghan army was inevitable, then I would reckon many troops in the Afghan army would be asking themselves, why should I and my family suffer for trying to fight off that inevitability? And they will also be acutely aware of the repercussions of being captured alive by the Taliban. It's not as if the Taliban has a reputation for being nice and fluffy, is it? And despite their statements at present that they will let people leave Afghanistan, there are claims that this is not borne out by their actions. But before I get to that, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my super thanks, Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Links in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. So the Taliban say they will allow foreign nationals and Afghans with foreign travel papers to leave the country in a safe and orderly manner to points of departure and travel outside of Afghanistan. But it's reported that they've actually stopped one attempt to evacuate 400 Afghans over the border. This attempt was made by a former member of the Royal Military Police, Ben Slater, who runs, or ran, a chain of non-governmental organisations within Afghanistan. And he was also trying to get 50 of his staff, mostly single women, out of the country. But they got turned back at the border and holed up in a hotel. But he was locked up for a short spell in jail after the Taliban started asking questions about single women in hotel rooms without a husband. And then he ended up being told to cross the border with one assistant. The rest had to stay behind. Now here's what Slater said about that. The final blow to the op is that the UK are only granting myself and one of my executive assistants over the border today, and they haven't even suggested they are going to issue the visas for some or the rest of my group. It's a complete disaster. Really, it's disgusting. It's beyond horrible. The UK authorities obviously do not have as much trust in his staff as he does. So it wasn't the Taliban that stopped them, it was the lack of foreign travel papers, the lack of UK visas that did for them. So what do you think about all of this? Please like and comment below.